Silo has finally returned with the first episode of Season 2. Last season's finale hinted at the possibility of other silos being closer than originally thought, and this premiere dove right into that concept. What was particularly striking was Juliet's discovery of a neighboring silo that had fallen into chaos and ruin after its inhabitants revolted years prior, leading to their own demise. This contrast was compelling, as in Season 1 we only witnessed rebellion on an individual level. The idea of an entire civilization choosing to walk out into the toxic air, only to turn the landscape into a vast graveyard filled with bones and decaying bodies, highlighted their lack of understanding about what awaited them. The shocking outcome and the episode's deliberate pacing made for a gripping and thought-provoking watch. Now, let's break down everything there was to take away from Silo Season 2, Episode 1, including the surprising ending. This video contains spoilers. The opening scene of this episode provided a glimpse into what a rebellion looked like within a silo. While the specific events that led to the divisions in Silo 17 remain unclear, there were clear signs of unrest, including posters demanding the truth, anti-founder graffiti, and a sheriff leading a large group of people. This suggests that something significant occurred to make so many people reject the idea that the world outside was poisonous and believe instead that they were being held captive. This scene illustrated the potential chaos that can unfold when the idea of freedom outside the silo takes root and spreads among the people. If such beliefs are not quickly contained, they can lead to widespread disorder and even mass death, as happened here. When one person becomes convinced that life is better outside, it's easier to quell their influence, often by sending them out to clean. However, when doubt festers and grows within the community, it becomes just as toxic as the air outside and leads to devastating consequences. There was a strong focus on the tape wrapped around Juliet throughout her every movement. The more she exerted herself to break into the silo, the more the tape, which was her only barrier against the toxic air, began to loosen. This detail effectively underscored the constant and immediate threat she faced, emphasizing that she was far from safe. The graffiti with words like lies and the destruction of the main screen in the canteen also conveyed the despair and disillusionment of the former silo inhabitants. Since the screen was their only view of the outside world and a symbol of hope for the future, its destruction represented a complete loss of belief. As her oxygen ran low, Juliet was forced to take a dangerous risk, smashing the glass in her mask to breathe again. This move revealed that the air inside the silo hadn't been contaminated, but she still carefully poured water over her suit to avoid possible toxins. The dissonance she felt while wandering through Silo 17 was palpable, as it evoked memories of her painful past. Flashbacks of her younger self highlighted her deep-rooted loneliness, stemming from the deaths of her brother and mother and her estrangement from her father. These memories mirrored her current isolation in a silo consumed by death and decay. It seemed as though Juliet's mindset mirrored her past when Walker had told her younger self that the worst feeling was waking up and thinking she was all alone and trapped in the silo. This resonated deeply with Juliet's fear of isolation and abandonment within a silo. While the people of the silo had long dreamed of freedom, in this case, Juliet's experience in Silo 17 intensified that fear as she faced complete solitude. A flashback of Juliet and Shirley going down to the drill level highlighted how Shirley once had to endure being left alone in the dark, moving carefully to survive. This lesson became relevant again as Juliet was forced to adopt a similar mindset to navigate her new, hostile environment. Younger Juliet had once declared she could never do such a thing, but now she proved her resilience by building a bridge to cross toward the mysterious metallic noise, demonstrating her determination to survive. The decaying and death-ridden state of the silo seemed to symbolize Juliet's mental state and her struggle. Within the darkness, there was one small pocket of life where water trickled onto the plants, a lone symbol of hope, mirroring the single person Juliet discovered at the episode's end. The moment she crossed the bridge and heard music underscored the idea of unexpected life and potential connection amid despair and isolation. Juliet followed the sound of music back over the bridge to where she had initially suspected life existed. In the room she entered, there was a chilling phrase scrawled on the wall: "He will get in sooner or later." Within a locked room stood a mysterious man who warned Juliet that if she attempted to open the door again, he would have to kill her. This individual appeared to be the sole survivor of the rebellion that had taken place within the silo. This raises intriguing questions about his identity. It is clear he isn't the sheriff, who perished alongside his flag, leading many to their deaths. So, could this man have been someone imprisoned during that period and trapped there ever since? Two key figures were introduced in the opening scene, Russell and Timmy, the sheriff's son. Russell seemed to lead those who wished to remain in the silo, but based on the sheriff's actions, claiming his finger slipped and appearing with blood-stained hands, Russell likely met a fatal end. That leaves Timmy. However, Timmy accompanied his father outside when the people left the silo, meaning he would have had to return very quickly. This character's survival and prolonged existence add a layer of mystery and complexity, becoming a significant focal point at the episode's end. It's fascinating to see that someone managed to outlast such devastation. Following the events, it raises the possibility that the character's differing eye colors could be a result of exposure to the outside environment. This physical change might serve as a subtle indicator of the consequences he faced beyond the silo. One notable aspect of the episode, titled The Engineer, is that Timmy was tasked with delivering a note to the sheriff, rather than the engineer doing so directly. Could this person be the engineer? The fact that he threatened to kill Juliet if she tried to open the door again suggests deep mistrust. His entire life has been shaped by violence, betrayal, and the deaths of those around him, making him hesitant to place his trust in anyone, especially a stranger. Regarding my review of the episode, there were aspects I both enjoyed and found challenging. I appreciated the slow burn pace. It served as a fitting reintroduction to the series, allowing viewers to re-enter a world that felt both familiar and dramatically altered. This mirrored Juliet's own journey and emotions, letting us, as viewers, experience her confusion and unease. However, one aspect that didn't quite work for me was the visual darkness of the episode. While I understand the intent, to capture the feel of navigating an abandoned silo with no power, the level of darkness was excessive at times, making it difficult to see what was happening and slightly detracting from the overall experience. It was challenging to watch at times due to its visual darkness, but the flashbacks were skillfully incorporated throughout this episode. Each one supported a central theme of the present day, whether it was about confronting loneliness, overcoming fears, or Juliet's survival instincts from her youth. The opening scene, where Jules stood before a sea of decaying bodies, was haunting. The show effectively conveyed the tragic impact of the rebellion in Silo 17, emphasizing how the sheriff ultimately led nearly everyone to their deaths, either in the fight to stay inside or in their ill-fated attempt to leave. The scene where Jules was hanging from a rope and unexpectedly plunged into water was a standout moment. It was surprising and thrilling, especially as we saw her struggle to swim, a stark reminder that many people in the silo likely had no experience with water, making survival all the more difficult. I'm looking forward to spending more time in the original silo in the next episode to see the aftermath of Jules' departure and how it impacts those she left behind. The trailer hints at a possible rebellion brewing there, which could have major consequences. It's exciting to have the show back, and I can't wait to see where it goes next. That wraps up the breakdown of Silo Season 2, Episode 1. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. If there's anything specific you'd like to see in future videos, feel free to drop your suggestions in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
See you next time.